Your traumatic childhood is completely and utterly your fault. Your dad beating you is your fault. Your parents not being in your life, your dad or your mother, is your fault. Your parents being drug addicts, alcoholics, your fault. You being a refugee from a country in war, it's your fault. Not in the sense that you somehow had control over it. No, of course not. But somehow you let it control your life. I remember the first guy I ever inspired. I'll always remember this. Literally, it was such a random day. This bitch was texting me for like weeks straight, trying to meet up, and I was kind of like ignoring her, saying, "Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this," and you know, it came to a point where I said, "It'll be one day, you know, let's just see what happens, right?" So I go to her, and she's like, "Hey, man. Okay, cool, yeah, hi," and bro, this dude, it's her ex-girlfriend, right? The bitch I'm meeting up with, and he's just sitting there. Bro, I was about to cuck a man. I had the chance to cuck a man. But my heart is too big, bro. My heart is too big. I can't, like, bro, what the fuck? And he was sitting there all sad and shit. With a fucking joint in his hand. I was like, because I already know this guy. I mean, this guy, he started going to the gym and his genetics are insane, bro. Like, bro, his biceps were almost as big as me, and it was only like maybe 3-4 months in. Like, oh my god, I was probably like a year in then. I was like, Jesus, what the fuck? And just to see this guy in this state, him about to be cucked with a joint in his hand. Bro, there's been like 2 or 3 fighter jets today. I don't think that's a fighter jet, but it was like a fighter jet just fucking so loud. Wow. Scary times. Whatever. I was about to cuck this man, right? He saw his ex-girlfriend, which the girlfriend broke up with him, right? Hug another man in front of his face, probably only 2 weeks after they broke up. I mean, I don't know why they met up in the first place. I didn't ask. But she went and hugged me, and I looked over at him, and he's just like, with like a joint in his hand. Imagine this is a joint. Okay, this is fucking stupid. Hold on. It was looking like that. Obviously not a joint as big as this. What the fuck? And with the big heart I had, I just had to go to him and say, "Bro, what you doing?" And I sent this bitch away. I was like, "Bro, I'm not kidding." I said, "Fuck off for a second. I want to talk to him." He's like, "What?" Like, for a second, okay, we'll come back in a second. And she's like, eh. She was like really pissed off. Obviously, I've been ghosting her for like 3 weeks or not, yeah. So I talked to this guy, and then he says, he doesn't really say anything about what is wrong, but I could tell. I mean, the ex-girlfriend hugging another man 2 weeks after they broke up. And I'm like, "Bro, what you doing? I thought you were going to the gym. Why do you have a joint in your hand?" And I was like, "Why not? Why should I not? Because I thought you wanted to improve your life. Why are you throwing it away because a bitch broke up with you?" He's like, "Why? It doesn't make any logical sense, does it? Does it have to make sense? Tell me, does it have to make sense?" So then I grab his joint, right? And I say, "Do you really want to do this? Look at the chessboard. Is this the best move to do?" I'm staring at a tree. I should stare at the camera. Is this the best move to do? Girlfriend just broke up with you. Girlfriend is meeting up with another man. Do you want her to win? And he said, I don't know. So then I give the joint back to him, right? And I'm like, do what you want. I ain't your dad. But please, you're probably one of the only men I respect right now. Please don't destroy that. And then so I go out and I just see this bitch and I just don't really want to look at her, right? First of all, I mean, she's pretty mid. And she was about to do that to another man. It's like, bro, I have morals, bro. I have morals. I'm not going to cuck a man. Unless I really hit the guy, okay, maybe. But I'm not going to cuck a man I already respect, right? So, probably a couple hours later, we were with, like, her friends, and we were, like, talking, whatever. And we're basically on the football field, right? And he's, like, lying under the goal, right? Under the net. And he's just playing Juice WRLD on, like, full volume, trying to get some empathy and attention from others, right? Obviously. And he had a bottle in his hand, and I was trying to ignore it because I was like, bro, this guy's hopeless. But bro, I literally have a problem. I cannot step away from other people's problems. That's the problem. That's my problem. I cannot step away from other people's problems. So I was like, so obviously my friends, I was still with them, and I was like, I'll be back in a sec. So I go to this guy, and I'm like, I'll stare in the camera again. What? Did you even listen to me? Did we even have a conversation just a couple hours ago? He didn't answer. And I'm like, my God, I'm trying to remember this conversation. But whatever I said, I convinced him somehow to get me his bottle. He had like a bottle of liquor, right? I remember it was some aura farming moment. I opened the bottle, right? And I just poured it in front of his face. And I'm just staring at him, and I throw the bottle away. God, that was the fucking most aura farming moment. Not the most, but that was a fucking moment. First guy I ever inspired. And I'm like, bro, if I don't see you in the gym tomorrow, you kind of deserved to get cucked. So then I go back to my friends. And he's still lying there, so I'm like, he's hopeless. But I remember a week later, I see him in the gym, and he's like, bro, what's up? He's like so enthusiastic and shit. And from that day forward, every time he sees me, he just smiles. Keep in mind, this guy, I don't know what happened, but both of his parents are not in his life anymore. I don't know why. I remember he was in my elementary school, right? We're in the same class. He always seems so sad all the time. And he lives in an orphanage, right? He lives in an orphanage, and obviously has no parents. He's built a relationship back up with his dad. His dad also goes to the gym. Pretty sure he's like a bear, bro. He's a bear. I still don't know what happened. I'm not gonna ask him, man, like, did your parents die? Obviously, his dad is still there. I don't know what happened to his mother. I'm not gonna ask a guy that, right? At least until we're like really close, which I'm not really. This guy had this much of a traumatic childhood, and he was about to use it as an excuse. But in the end, this guy just needed a slap in the face. Metaphorical slap in the face where I take the joint away from him, and I take his bottle and I empty it in front of him. To this day, I mean, I don't see him that often anymore. I mean, obviously it's been like a year later. I'm pretty sure he still goes to the gym, bro. He's big. He's almost as big as me. I'm saying that I'm like mid right now, but get it, like, bro, he's been going to the gym on and off. I mean, he's still pretty consistent. Definitely way better than he was, but yeah. I mean, at least I got him away from that life, right? At least he's living somewhat of a normal life now. At least I You know, I don't know if he smokes anymore. I don't think he does. He also had a vape as well. I was like, give me your vape as well. And he's like, no, 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 no. Like the first time I talked to him. And, you know, obviously, you could do better. You could definitely do better. But at least he's living a normal life now. He's taking school somewhat seriously. He has a really good physique, bro. I hope he uses those genetics, bro. I really hope he uses those genetics towards bodybuilding or some type of strength training related sport, right? He doesn't use his past as an excuse. I mean, imagine not having your parents and have to go into an orphanage when you're, what, it was probably 6, 8 years old, right? Imagine that. Imagine not having any parents at all. No one to take care of you. Obviously, at an orphanage, but who wants an orphanage? You just want your parents, right? Obviously, you have to respect the orphanage. People that take care of them, but still, you want your own parents, right? I'll never forget that. The first guy I ever inspired. And, well, obviously, he's not that far. But at least I took him away from, you know, what Hamza Ahmed would call the Jeffrey life. At least he's like an average guy now, you know. He has a good physique. And you know that bitch that broke his heart and tried to cuck him? She works as a cashier now. She's dating some 21-year-old. She's okay. When she was dating him, she was still 17, right? She's 18 now. When you turn 18, it's fine, right? It's fine. But obviously she was 17. I was like, yeah, right? And she goes to him every night. This is what this guy, his ex, is telling me. Her ex is telling me, you know, the guy I inspired. And he's like saying, she goes to him every night, smokes weed, and that's it. And she works as a cashier. I see her, you know, she works in my town basically, so I see her quite often. Because I'm obviously going to the shop quite often. And then I see her, and then sometimes she takes a break, and then she just sits outside with her babe. I used to be quite good friends with her group and shit. That was the first time I was out with like 3 bitches at one time. Like, that was crazy. You know, crazy step up, right? And now she's here, being a cashier. I also don't know what happened to her. I'm pretty sure her mother also died. But it's different with women, you know. Us men. I know I sound like a fucking misogynist now, but it's true. And there's definitely been women who don't use their past as an excuse, but still. It's way, way harder for women. But also still hard for men, you see. I hope you learned something.